KZMB All Zombie Radio.
All right, let me make sure that the stream is actually working before I do anything else. Let me make sure that it's actually working. It is. Okay, thank goodness. Hi, and welcome to the Limited Series Lounge. We were going to be on hiatus. Surprise, we're not again. We love torturing ourselves apparently. We are covering The Devil in Disguise. Did you know that there's 2 series by the same exact name, both about John Wayne Gacy?
Wait, so when I was, like, Googling it, maybe yesterday, I was like, "Oh, mm, wait."
Yeah, I found out last night and I was like, I hope Takira watched the right one, and I hope also that I'm watching the right one. So I don't know. We'll find out together, I guess. I am sorry that I'm late. Okay, so like my computer's been giving me some trouble lately. Like, I mean, it's slow as sin, but like that, whatever, it is what it is. But I've been running into some trouble with the monitor. It's happened a couple times. You remember I told you like something was wrong with my monitor? I was worried I was gonna have to replace the computer.
Mhm.
It happened again. Turns out it was the cord. It was the
Oh.
HDMI cord. And so Trav replaced it while I was shoving pizza into my mouth frantically. And so now it seems to be fixed. Seems like the problem is solved. Thank God. So, okay, Devil in Disguise. It is both a docu-series I did not watch and a drama series that I did watch.
Okay, wait.
They're both about John Wayne Gacy.
Now I have to see which one I watched.
Well, was it acted or was it just footage from news?
Um, I don't I feel like they weren't acting anything out, they were, like, talking to him.
But, like, was it really John Wayne Gacy or was it just a guy playing him?
Oh, oh, you know what?
What?
Duh. Yeah, it's a guy playing
Okay, I was like, "What? Like, why is this question so hard for you to answer right now?" Okay, thank goodness. Then we both watched the same one, thank God. Okay. Okay. So, we did watch the first 2 episodes, so that's what we're gonna be talking about tonight. They don't have fun episode names, they're just episode 1 and episode 2, that's what they're called. Um Episode 1 synopsis states that after a teenager named Robert uh Peast disappears on his mother's birthday, um DePlane police department officers track, interrogate, and tail the contractor Peast was last seen with, known as John Wayne Gacy. In episode 2, officers excavate the crawl space beneath John Wayne Gacy's home. Gacy shows Amarante, Kunkel, and Kozenzak, where he disposed of Rob's body. And Johnny, I don't know how to say Johnny's last name because she just calls him Johnny shit, and that's not his name. I assume it's Sick because it's
Mm.
SZYC.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, him and his best friend Lynn,
I feel
um,
like they did pronounce it, but
maybe, probably at one point. Anyway, they venture into the city, and then also head to the school dance together. All right.
okay,
Now
wait.
let me pull up a little bit more information about this. I kind of want to get into some of the deets. And then I want to talk about the cast because I think the
Wait,
cast is really
sorry.
interesting.
Now I just confused myself again
Why?
because
Hi, Durga. I'm glad you're excited. Kira's
because
having like an identity crisis over the show.
I am I think I'm having a mental break with reality.
Okay.
I watched I watched I
Oh my
watched
god.
episode 1 of the correct show
Okay, and then you watched episode 2 of the
and
wrong show?
episode 1 and 2 of the wrong show. I don't even know how I did that.
So you watched the actual documentary.
Yeah.
Okay.
'Cause I was like, "Let me just make sure," because no, I'm pretty sure that that was John Wayne Gacy I was watching.
Okay. Okay. So I assumed and Durga, correct me if I'm wrong, because this was your request. Did you want us to watch the drama, the true crime inspired drama or the docu-series? Because I watched the drama. She's saying the doc is good too, so I think she wanted us to watch the drama. All right, well, Kara watched one episode. That's
I
fine.
did, yeah.
That's fine. We're gonna cover both.
'Cause I'm like, "Wait a
You'll
minute,
suffer. You'll be fine.
why does one of them say continue episode 2?"
Girl, I don't know what happened to you.
I
I
don't
do
know
not know
either.
what happened to you. Okay. All right. So this show, as the drama, she's she's laughing at you. Okay. You're not okay. You are not okay. Okay, so
I just
we
wanna before we begin, let me
yeah,
just say, what night was this? What night did I work? Okay, this is I'm off okay, Monday. Monday night,
yeah,
I get off work, I walk in the door, and usually the first thing I do is go in the bathroom. Except I'm freezing. I don't wanna take any of my work stuff off because 'cause I'm freezing.
mhm,
My skin feels all prickly and stuff, and then just as the night goes on, because occasionally this weird thing happens to my body, and I've always thought it was, like, fibromyalgia related, and I'll get, like, the aches and pains in my extremities, like when you have the flu,
sure,
and I'll get, like, cold chills and prickly skin,
yeah,
all the signs of, like, the flu and a fever without the fever.
okay,
Well, Monday night, I had the fever.
mm, so actually sick.
Actually sick.
Mhm,
No reason, no rhyme, no explanation. And then Tuesday, I was having all the symptoms like I usually do without the fever.
mm, interesting.
So, I could have been delirious for 2 days this
It
week.
sounds like maybe you were. 'Cause the part it's not the part that you watched the wrong series because that is, like, very understandable. It's the fact that you watched both of them is what's confusing to me. It's the fact that you watched 1 episode of the one we were supposed to, and then 1 and 2 of the other of the other series is what I'm confused about. Okay. So, now I understand why when I was like, "Well, was it the news or was it just a guy?" You're like, "They were talking to John Wayne Gacy." Because at some point, I assume they actually were in the documentary. Anyway, so we're covering the drama.
Huh?
Um, I have to say, real marketing fail on Peacock's end.
Yeah, for
Why did you
real.
literally name them the same thing?
First of all,
Because it was so confusing.
they
And what's crazy is the documentary was suggested for me on my main page, and I couldn't find the drama that I had already started. So
see,
I was like, "Why is it like this?" So I mean, there is something to be said for Peacock. I don't know what you're doing. Maybe choose a different name
I know
for
for a
one of them.
fact that in my delirium is when I watched episode 1 of the one we're supposed to be watching.
Sure.
Then today I went looking for it because 'cause I'm like, "Oh, I gotta watch episode 2,"
And you're like,
and
"I
then
didn't
I'm
even
looking
watch
for
it."
it, and I'm like, "I guess I didn't watch it?" I watched both episodes.
Oh my gosh. Okay, Durga said Peacock/NBC is continuously failing in marketing. They just canceled Poker Face.
What is
I
it's the P's. Peacock, Paramount, Are there any other
I have beef.
peas?
I have beef. Anyway, moving on. Okay, I want to talk about scheduling because we're going to be covering 2 episodes of this show every time that we cover it, and we'll be covering it tonight, the 14th, obviously. The 21st, so next week, Friday, we will also be covering episodes 3 and 4. We will take a break for 2 weeks, and then we'll come back and cover episodes 5 and 6 on the 12th of December, and then 7th and 8th on the 19th of December, and then we'll wrap this up. We will then be on hiatus until High Potential comes back. They want to replace
Except
Natasha with Peter Dinklage?
it, huh? What?
Okay. Okay. Okay.
I have
Okay.
another limited
We're
series
just look,
lounge
we're not
show
gonna
for you.
we're not doing it. What is it? What is it? Tell me, but we're not doing it.
Of course, it used to be, well, not used to be. It started off as a book.
Okay.
It's limited, of course. It's called
Mhm.
All Her Fault,
All her
and
fault.
the story is about a woman that goes to pick her kid up from a play date, and the
Okay.
woman that answers the door has no idea who she is nor her child.
How how does that even happen?
Yeah. And
Is this based on like real events or is this like a made up thing?
yes, it's
Okay.
it's inspired by a small event that happened to the
Okay.
author of the book.
Okay, interesting. Okay, I'm intrigued. I would be interested. But
I
we're
was
not doing it anytime soon.
yeah, yeah,
We're
yeah.
not doing it anytime soon. I'm done. I said hiatus and you sucked me back in, Durga. You sucked me back in. Okay. Okay, so all right. Devil in Disguise, John Wayne Gacy. Good luck figuring out which one it is an 8-episode American true crime drama miniseries that premiered just last month, October 16th, 2025 on Peacock. It is a dramatization of the life and crimes of serial killer John Wayne Gacy, who murdered dozens of young men and boys during the 1970s. The series portrays Gacy as both a respected community member and a serial killer. It explores the investigation leading to his capture, the lives of his victims, and the grief their families endured. Beyond detailing Gacy's crimes, the series examines systemic failures, societal prejudices, and missed opportunities that allowed him to evade detection for years, we haven't really gotten to that part yet, but it'll be interesting to see what comes up. Um, okay. So,
Sheldon's mom.
huh? Oh,
Sheldon
you're
from
talking about Young Sheldon.
Young Sheldon.
Okay. I was like, "Girl, that is not
She's
Jackie from
his
Roseanne."
mom.
Okay. So, I wanna talk a little bit about John Wayne Gacy because this is who this is about. It's not because I love talking about this guy, I don't. He's an absolute creep and totally disgusting. But I feel like if you're gonna go into this, you need, like, a little bit of context about who he was as a person. So, we're gonna talk about him a little bit. He was born March 17th, 1942. He did pass away May 10th, 1994 via lethal injection. He was an American serial killer and sex offender who raped, tortured, and murdered at least 33 young men and boys between the years 1972 and 1978 in Norwood Park Township, a suburb of Chicago, Illinois. He became known as the Killer Clown due to his public performances as a clown prior to the discovery of his crimes, which is its own thing. Gacy committed all of his known murders inside his ranch style home, and typically he would lure a victim to his house and dupe them into donning handcuffs on the pretext of demonstrating a magic trick. He would then um, assault and torture his captive before killing his victim by either asphyxiation or strangulation with a garrote. which is like, okay, so it's a handheld ligature of chain, rope, scarf, wire, or fishing line used to a person. 26 victims were buried in the crawl space. 26. 3 were buried elsewhere on his property, and then 4 were discarded into the Des Plaines River. Gacy had previously been convicted in 1968 of the sodomy of a teenage boy in Waterloo, Iowa, and was sentenced to 10 years imprisonment, but served only 18 months. He murdered his first victim in 1972, so shortly after being released, had murdered twice more by the end of 1975, and murdered at least 30 victims after his divorce from his second wife in 1976. The investigation into the disappearance of the Des Plaines teenager Robert Peast is what led to his arrest. He was arrested December 21st, 1978. So 10 years was his span of terror from the first conviction to the final arrest. Gacy's conviction for 33 murders by one individual then covered the most homicides in United States legal history. Gacy was sentenced to death on March 13th, 1980, and he was executed by lethal injection at Stateville Correctional Center on May 10th, 1994. Gacy was born in Chicago, Illinois. He is the second of 3 children and the only son of John Stanley Gacy and Marion Elaine Robinson. His father was an auto repair machinist and World War I veteran, and his mother was a homemaker. He was of Polish and Danish ancestry, and his family was Catholic. Gacy was close to his mother and 2 sisters, but had a difficult relationship with his alcoholic father, who was verbally and physically abusive to his family. The elder Gacy frequently belittled his son, calling him dumb and stupid and comparing him unfavorably with his sisters. One of Gacy's earliest childhood memories was of his father beating him at age 4 for accidentally disarranging car engine components. His mother tried to shield her son from his father's abuse, which resulted in accusations that he was a sissy and a mama's boy who would, quote, unquote, probably grow up queer, end quote. In 1949, Gacy's father whipped him after he and another boy were caught sexually fondling a young girl, which, to be fair, he did deserve a whipping for that. The same year, a family friend began to occasionally molest Gacy. Gacy never told his father, afraid that his father would blame him. And so despite their challenging relationship, Gacy did love his father, but felt he was never good enough in his father's eyes. Gacy was an overweight and unathletic kid, and because of a heart condition, he was told to avoid sports. And in the 4th grade, he began to experience blackouts. He was hospitalized on occasion because of these episodes, and also in 1957 for a burst appendix. Gacy later estimated that between the ages of 14 and 18, he had spent almost a year in the hospital, and he attributed the decline of his grades to missing school. His medical condition was never conclusively diagnosed. Just so you know. His father suspected he was malingering, which is like faking essentially symptoms of something, or like exaggerating like symptoms that you're having, in order to like avoid personal responsibility. On one occasion, he openly accused his son of faking as he lay in the hospital bed. I'm sorry, that's like actually kind of funny. Anyway, hold on, I'm sorry. Durga was commenting. John Wayne Gacy was a part of a ring. I hate that they didn't talk about Project Delta. That lead paint man was tearing brains up.
Lead.
Oh, lead paint? Lead paint. The lead paint. Yeah, it was. It was. Anyway, in 1960, at the age of 18, Gacy became involved in politics because, of course, he did. Working as an assistant precinct captain, party candidate. This led to more criticism from his father, who called him a patsy. The same year, Gacy's father bought him a car, He kept the vehicle's title in his own name until Gacy had paid for it, which took several years. His father would confiscate the keys if Gacy did not do as he said, which is a form of financial abuse. In April 1962, Gacy purchased an extra set of keys, and in response, his father removed the distributor cap, keeping the component for 3 days. He said, F around, find out, boy. Hours after his father replaced the cap, Gacy left home and drove to Las Vegas, Nevada with $136 to his name in the hope of residing with a cousin. He worked in the Las Vegas ambulance service before being transferred to Palm Mortuary, and he worked as a mortuary attendant for 3 months, observing morticians embalming bodies and occasionally serving as a pallbearer. He slept on a cot behind the embalming room and later confessed that one evening while alone, he clambered into the coffin of a teenage male. This experience prompted Gacy to return home. I guess because he stated he fell into shock. So, anyway, what a weird dude. Oh, gosh, it's disgusting. Shortly thereafter, Gacy enrolled at Northwestern Business College despite having failed to even complete high school. Because back in the day, you used to be able to lie about stuff. And you know what? No one caught you. He graduated in 1963, so way to go, I guess, and took a management trainee position with the Nunn Bush Shoe Company. And in 1964, the company transferred him to Springfield, Illinois to work as a salesman and eventually promoted him to department manager. In March of that year, he became engaged to Marilyn Myers, a coworker. During their courtship, Gacy joined the local chapter of the JCs, and that same year, he had his second homosexual experience, according to him. According to Gacy, a colleague in the JCs plied him with drinks and invited him to spend the evening on his sofa. I find this hard to believe because I've looked at John Wayne Gacy. In 1965, Gacy had risen to the position of vice president of the Springfield JCs and was named the third most outstanding JC in Illinois. Okay, I'm not going to go much more into anything else because I think the show will probably give us enough details, but I do want to mention like what he like did a lot of jobs. Okay, he worked as a KFC manager in Waterloo, Iowa. He was part of the Waterloo JCs. Then around this time is when he assaulted the teenager that was like the son of a fellow JC. The politician's son. This is like what he gets in trouble for. This is the Stag films, he says. Which makes sense because he was assaulted as a kid. So like some of this does make sense like in that regard. Like the psychology behind it. I'm not saying it makes sense because it was like it's not normal or acceptable or it doesn't forgive what he did. Durga says my sister used to block everyone in with her car and go out all day, all night. And my day finally removing her steering wheel. Very Papa Gacy activities. Oh, her dad finally removed the steering wheel. That's awesome. The JC were wild wasps. It sounds like they got into some interesting activities. Okay, so for some reason, I assumed it's often stated that Gacy was from Wisconsin, but that is not true, it would appear. At any point, did he live in Wisconsin? No. That's what people in Wisconsin say. So I'm a little bit
I don't know
confused
why they want to claim that man.
I think it's because we like want to claim that we have the most serial killers and we don't. We have a lot of them. We had a lot of them there. He did have connections to the state. That's why. He did not live there ever. He did live there actually. He worked a summer job at a lakeside resort in Elkhorn, Wisconsin when he was a teenager. And one of his potential early victims was assaulted at that resort during that time. And then during his active years, He did apparently travel to Paddock Lake in Wisconsin. So there are some ties to Wisconsin, actually. Sorry, Wisconsin, you do get to win that one, I guess. For whatever reason. Okay. So the series is interesting because it starts essentially from the arrest. I mean, not like 100%, but basically. So
Mhm.
you're left kind of going, what is this show going to be about? Like, we've already caught him. We got him, boys. Like, what's going to happen? I do want to mention who plays who. Okay, so Michael Chernus plays John Wayne Gacy, and I have to say, I cannot imagine playing a role like this. So, like, congratulations, sir. You're doing a
Mhm.
wonderful job. And I know that like afterwards you'll probably get like a lot of flack for doing so. Um, I also want to say that the Midwest accents are out of this world. I'm obsessed. They're so funny. Why does everyone sound like John Candy?
Actually, it did remind me of being in Minnesota.
It did, like, it's accurate. Like the accents are quite good. They're
Yeah.
accurate. But all it makes me think of is, did you study John Candy for this role? Is that like your inspiration?
I mean, why not?
Gabrielle Luna plays Detective Raphael Tovar, who I love. And also, what a handsome man. Um, James Badge Dale plays Joe Kozenzak, who's the lieutenant. Michael Anthony in Angarano, you may recognize him, but he plays Sam Amarante, the lawyer. Um, let me go. Actually, let me go back to Michael Chernus and let me look up what other roles he's been in before I move too far away from this.
Severance.
You're right. He is in Severance. I haven't watched Severance still, but he is in Severance.
That was a comment from Durga.
Yes, she says, I can't believe that's Rickon from Severance. He also had a connection to Dean Coral in Dallas, who basically did the same thing Gacy did, down to the handcuff trick. Ugh. That's rough, man. All right. So Michael Chernus, who plays John Wayne Gacy, has been in a number of films and TV series. He was in Bored to Death, Mercy, Damages. Of course, he did an episode of SVU because why wouldn't he? Everyone does. He was in a few episodes of The Big C. He was in The New Normal. He was in Nurse Jackie for an episode. Orange is the New Black. Oh, yeah, he was.
Mhm.
Cal Chapman. Yeah. He was in Royal Pains, Nashville, just for an episode, Elementary, Manhattan, SVU again.
Elementary.
Yep, SVU
Hmm.
again. He played Edwin Borstein in an episode
Mm.
called Bella. He was in the show Patriot, The Good Wife, Wormwood, my goodness, Evil. He was in the show Evil. He played
What?
Dr. Paul Wimsimer. He was in an episode of Little America. He was in Severance, obviously. He was in a mini series called Dead Ringers. And this is his most recent work. He's also a excuse me, a stage actor as well. He's done a lot of off Broadway. In terms of films, his most recent film is one called Colm 75. It's a German music drama. Interesting. Maybe he speaks German. I have no idea. Other than that, what is recognizable? He was in Spider-Man Homecoming as the Tinkerer. And he was in Captain Phillips, Men in Black 3. Kind of all over the place. His acting creds. Okay, so moving on. Gabrielle Luna plays Detective Tovar. Um, has also been in film and obviously television. He's been in a wide variety of things as well, including Prison Break, NCIS LA, True Detective. That's right, True Detective. Um, he was in some episodes of Agents of Shield. You may recognize him most notably as Tommy Miller from The Last of Us.
Mm.
Hard to tell. He's got such a different look, but that's what he was in. Movies wise, probably the thing he would be best known for would maybe be like he was in Terminator Dark Fate. I don't know many of the other movies that he was in, so all right. James Badge Dale, who plays the lieutenant, he was in a ton of stuff, including a 1990 version of Lord of the Flies. That's crazy. Uh, he was also in not many other movies that I'm recognizing. Most recently, in a movie entitled On the Edge. TV shows
Feel
wise,
like I've seen that.
SVU, 24, Hack, Rescue Me, CSI, CSI Miami, CSI New York, The Black Donnellys, Rubicon, Hightown, 1923.
Hightown.
Yep. And then obviously this show as well. Moving on, the guy who played Sam, the lawyer, has been around the block for a while. He was a child actor. Let's see if there's anything. He was in Seabiscuit. He was in nothing else that I'm seeing that's like really standing out as like movie wise. Yeah, nothing crazy that I'm seeing. But for TV shows, he was on an episode of Saturday Night Live to play David Duchovny's son, which is just like a fun fact. He was in Sybil. He was in The Pretender. He was on As the World Turns. He was on Will and Grace. He was a guest regular. Elliot, the little kid. He was in 24. He was in Drunk History. He was on the show Mom. He was in Dollface. He was in Pen 15. And obviously the show as well. He's been in a ton of stuff. He's a very recognizable guy. He's got like a really recognizable face. Chris Sullivan plays Bill Kunkel, who's the prosecutor for the police department. He's been in several movies as well, most notably as Taserface in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. TV shows wise, he's been on A Gifted Man, Elementary again, Special Victims Unit again. Stranger Things, he played Benny Hammond in Stranger Things. He was on an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm. And he reprised his role of Taserface for a What If episode also for Marvel What If. Elizabeth Peace is played by Marin Ireland. She is another person who just kind of has a very recognizable face, but she's also been around for a number of years as an actress. She started her role off with her acting career off with small roles in movies such as The Manchurian Candidate, I Am Legend. Yeah. I know, it's crazy. She was in, let's see. Let me see some of the other movies. She was in Hell or High Water. She was in she's been in a lot of stuff. There's just like not a ton of stuff that I like recognize. Most recently, her most recent film role was in The Materialists, which came out this year. For television, she was in Law and Order Criminal Intent. Law and Order Criminal Intent again as a different character. Law and Order Special Victims Unit. Law and Order The Original Property. The Good Wife, A Gifted Man, Prime Suspect, Homeland as a recurring character. She was Eileen Morgan. She was in The Killing, which is what I recognize her from which is the American version of The Killing, not the British one. The Following, Masters of Sex, Madam Secretary, Law and Order SVU again is a different character. Elementary again. The Good Doctor, The Umbrella Academy, Why the Last Man, also a great show. Justified.
Umbrella Academy.
She was Sissy Cooper. Justified, City Primeval, and obviously this show as well. She also, much like the guy who plays John Wayne Gacy, is a stage actress as well.
She's Sheldon's mother.
Yes, I'm sorry, I didn't include that. Is she? I didn't even see that on the thing. I didn't even see it on here. Young Sheldon. It's not even on here. Tara, are you sure? You sure it's
That
the same actress?
has to be her.
Oh. It ain't listed.
If that's not her, she has a twin.
That's really gonna. Okay, now I have to look this up because you're like gaslighting me right now. Young Sheldon. What's the name of the mom? Mary?
Oh
Mary
my
Cooper?
God,
It's not
that's
her at all.
not her.
It's Zoe Perry. You're completely wrong. You are completely inaccurate. Your
That's
opinion can no
so
trust it.
crazy.
I don't think they look anything alike. That's why I was like, "Are you sure that's the same person?" They don't look similar to me.
Oh, I'm gonna stick
Um,
their faces next to each other on the picture and show you.
um, okay, there are some characters that haven't shown up yet that I'm not gonna get into. So we will just kind of move past the rest of the cast for right now. Those are a lot of our main people anyway. Oh, I'm sorry. The episodes do have titles now.
Yeah, yeah. I
Okay, they
meant to
weren't
say that.
listed anywhere else, but sure. Episode 1 is entitled 10 Days because that's how many days they were following him. And episode 2 is entitled Johnny, the made up person that he's blaming everything on. All right, I want to say, turns out I knew nothing about John Wayne Gacy. The only thing I knew is that he was a clown. I didn't
Oh.
know anything else about him.
See, I'm trying. I've known about him for a lot. He's one of the first people I knew about, and I don't remember why.
So, like, obviously, I've heard his name. The fact that he was a clown is really what is memorable about him. Um, that obviously has inspired a lot of concepts. This concept of a killer clown has inspired a lot of pieces of media, clearly. Um,
Maybe that's why I knew him, because one of my favorite childhood movies was Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
that and it also, I would say, is heavily
Right.
influenced by this, right?
Yeah.
So, it turns out I didn't know a ton about him. I did not know that he buried bodies under his house. In fact, I really didn't know much about him at all. Like I said, all I knew was that he was a clown. So this is going to be really interesting because I didn't know anything about his victims or like that he favored teenage boys. Like I didn't know any of this. So this will be interesting to find out more. Episode 1 primarily talks about it's kind of actually hold on, let me see if I can find something for us. And I imagine you got quite a bit of information from the documentary.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, so there is a blog called Nerds That Geek. Okay. Don't love the name, but that's all right. You didn't make it up, maybe. John Edward Betancourt. So he wrote a recap of 10 Days. So we're just going to go ahead and read that. So this article contains spoilers for the series premiere of Devil in Disguise. This was written on October 17th, 2025. Some particular beliefs that we all hold to when it comes to the capture of killers in our world are that the processes to do so are intense, swift, and satisfying for those dealing with the harm of a murderer. And it makes sense why we hold to those beliefs, simply because, like it or not, popular culture has presented manhunts to us in that manner. For we often see laser focused investigators in these stories that are relentless in tracking down clues, and they have epic technology at their fingertips to aid in bringing down a monster. And yes, that arrest means the world to those involved. And well, while we love that and expect that in the real world, sadly, those really are stylized beliefs that we should not ever hold to. Because in reality, police work is not that glamorous or expedient. It takes time to find the truth, and sometimes it comes forth through sheer luck or the right timing. And while the reality of police work versus fiction is top of mind today, because it was put on display in the series premiere of Devil in Disguise on Peacock. 10 days accomplished, the episode 10 days accomplished by showcasing just how a killer's reign can come to an end through unique circumstances and old school police work. For in December of 1978, Elizabeth Peace went searching for her son, Robert, who left work with the strange man and never came home. And that prompted her and her family to go to the police to file a missing person report, a decision that would change so much in the city of Des Plaines, Illinois. For what was baseline work for Detective Raphael Tofar turned into the case of a lifetime, since it brought him face to face with a man named John Wayne Gacy, who Tovar knew was immediately shady and hiding so much. But initial interviews and general searches revealed nothing outside of John having desires that weren't mainstream or accepted in 1978. So, to figure out if he was indeed guilty, Chief of Detectives Joe Kozenzak had his boys follow Gacy at every turn and watch him closely in an effort to potentially break him and force him to make a mistake. A decision that truly showcased how police work really goes. Since there were no intense standoffs here, no thrilling cat and mouse games, just some cops hanging out where Gacy went, following evidence as it presented itself, and they even had dinner with the man at his request, because there was no real threat to be seen. Sure, the man had a temper and clearly didn't like the cops being around, but for a time, it seemed that history would never know the name John Wayne Gacy. But that dinner was the screw up Joe was hoping for, since an odd smell was present in the house, and that brought history to John's doorstep. Because just like that, a search of the house revealed bodies buried beneath the floor of the house, and Gacy himself exhibited some odd behavior when visiting his new attorney, to the point where Sam suggested that police just shoot out Gacy's tires when given the chance because of what John obviously confessed to Sam. A chilling admission that led to an intense end to this opening chapter, wherein the police made their move and brought in a true monster. However, what was really impressive here was the fact that the story really did offer up by the book old school police work and a reminder that the processes take time. Since this took quite literally 10 days of pressure and questions and pain for the Peace family, who genuinely struggled with the pace that Joe set forth, but that was the right call, obviously, since it did lead to the capture of a notorious serial killer, one that truly did cause so much harm. And well, that was a great way to kick off this story, since it let us know above all else that this miniseries will focus heavily on realism and how this case played out and how it came to its close. And it will be both interesting and refreshing to learn more about John Wayne Gacy and how he was properly brought to justice in the weeks to come. What did I just do? Oh my god. Okay, there we go. Okay. So I'll get to episode 2 in a second, but um I guess oh shoot, I had a question, I lost it. Pregnancy brain. Shoot. Oh, you know what I really want to find out? Where did they embellish? Because there's a disclaimer at the beginning of every episode that some of these, like some of this is made up and fictionalized.
When I watch episode 2, I'll tell you, in comparison to the very fresh information I have from the documentary.
Oh, that's
You
true. You could. Okay. Can you be our expert? Do you want to continue to watch both or do you not want
Yeah,
to?
I don't care.
Okay, would you be our expert in letting us know like where does this track? Because one of the things I thought was most interesting was Tovar's approach to this. So I don't know if Tovar had been moved from narcotics or not. I don't know if that's true. But this basically what's insinuated in the show is that Tovar moved from narcotics fairly recently to be a homicide detective, or at least a detective. And in that reveal, when he doesn't want to take on this missing persons case, because at this time frame, when kids go missing, a lot of the time we're just saying that they ran away from home. Is that true a lot of the time? Sure. Is
Mhm.
it true every time?
No.
No. However, that's how this was handled at the time. So to see a detective who takes it upon threat from his commanding officer who says, if you don't do this, I'm going to bump you back to narcotics. He then proceeds to try to interview Gacy and is so uncomfortable with the way that Gacy responds. He goes back and says, this guy is lying to me. Something is going on here, which for the time period is a very unusual. So I'd be
Yeah.
interested to know how accurate is Tovar to reality, because like that, if I ever go missing, that's the guy I want looking for me. You know what I mean? That's the kind of
Mhm.
person I want looking for me.
Yeah.
Um, he's so committed to his job, and like it's obviously taking a real toll on him personally. He can't handle it in front of Gacy. You don't know this because you didn't watch episode 2 yet, but he cannot handle himself in front of Gacy, like at all. He is ready to snap. He has a young son.
Yeah.
Of course he's ready to snap, because I'm sure that's all he's thinking about is this could have been my son that this happened to. And when he's doing primarily all of the work under the house as well. So he's excavating these bodies, and as he's doing so, it's traumatizing him so much. He came home, he can still smell it, Takira.
Mhm.
He can still smell it on him, and he asks his wife, like, "Do I smell? Can you smell it on me?" He doesn't tell her what he's doing. He just asks, and she's a police officer, as we see, and so she says, "You were in that house, weren't you?" So she like puts it together, because obviously all
Mhm.
of the beat cops would have known what was going on, because this is like a huge deal that this happened in this town. It's like a small town, small suburb. Um. Anyway, it's so I'd be interested to know how accurate is Tovar. So you'll have to find out for me. Okay, let's do the recap of the episode to Johnny. This was published on October 21st of this year. One particular expectation, written again by John Edward Betancourt. One particular expectation we all harbor when we settle in to watch a crime drama, especially one based upon a true case, is resistance from the bad guy when they are finally caught. Which reminds me, Takira, he reminds me of someone who was heavily focused on in Mindhunter. Does he remind
Mhm.
you of anybody? Gacy?
Oh, well, a little bit of the very large guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm trying to remember the guy's name. Oh man. Edmund. Edmund.
Yes.
Edmund. Ed Kemper. Ed Kemper.
Kemper, yes.
Ed Kemper. That's who he reminds me of. Very much wants to be liked. Very
Except
personable.
except Ed Kemper was actually an intelligent man.
That's true. I mean, this guy got a college degree. He scammed his way into a college degree.
He
He must
just
have he
like
did the work, at least for the college part. He didn't do the work for high school, but he did the work later.
he wants to be so liked and he wants to be so intelligent and he wants people to think that he's this sophisticated, intelligent guy that and I'm like, but you clearly aren't. You can tell in the way he's like I just spent 2 hours watching him. You could
Mm,
just the
sure.
way he speaks is like everything he does to me is just he's trying too hard. It's just
Yeah.
all fake.
Yeah. Um, okay, sorry. I just want to interrupt with that Ed Kemper comparison, because is really what he reminded me of. Very similar in the like
I thought
interaction with
about him. Mhm.
um Casey. Durga says Gacy's an idiot. Why would you invite the cops into your house when you have bodies in the crawl space? I don't know, because he was so drunk. That's the only thing I could think of. Is he that cocky about what he's done? I don't know. Okay. So I'm sorry. I have like itching is like one of my symptoms from pregnancy. Anyway, and so I'm like itching like crazy on my back right now. Okay. All right. So we expect resistance from the bad guy when they're finally caught, because somehow that offers a sense of comfort, one that confirms we are indeed looking into the face of evil, and that evil was boxed up and brought to justice by the forces of good. So there's a real sense of satisfaction in watching them squirm and fight back. Plus, it does add a bit of tension to these stories as well, since those actions only add to the end game, where it's a race to save a life or find the evidence needed to lock the monster up. Which is why the next episode of Devil in Disguise is of note, simply because Johnny, the name of the episode, to offer up the absolute opposite of our expectations. After it seemed as though it would fulfill them, for this tale opened with Gacy in custody and represented by his lawyer Sam, and Sam's expectations and Gacy's temper made it seem like he was going to toy with the cops. But instead, Gacy was in fact helpful and eager to show the cops the work he had accomplished, to the point where he invited them into his home to begin to inform them of how this all went down, which was stunning to both the audience and the DePlain police, because that was just handing them the case on a platter, and there was more to this than Gacy let on. Because it wasn't just about being helpful, nor was it about putting together a potential plea deal for the court case to follow. No, it was about a monster being seen, a monster getting a chance to brag and express the joy he took in offering darkness to the world, to the point where he garnered deep insight into the gross conflicts happening within Gacy's mind. Since he spoke to his very psyche as he took Joe, Bill, and Sam to where he buried the other bodies, which revealed that young Robert was dumped into the river and that the police were dealing with true evil. And that made for a chilling episode for certain. One that hammered home further the kind of monster that Gacy was through a surprise. For this story, did not just hold on to that one storyline. It took some time to explore the life and times of one Johnny Sick, who was one of Gacy's victims, and we learned that Johnny struggled in life because he was queer in the 1970s, an era in where being a member of the gay community was not something that was well received. And he even worked to present a heteronormal to sorry, to try and find favor amongst his peers and his mother, who knew and were disappointed in him, which was awful to see and deeply expressed the horrors of those years. And it showcased how Johnny was an everyday person who was caught up in the charms of a real demon, because it's no secret that Gacy preyed upon what Johnny wanted most: affection and exploration, to understand what his heart desired, and to have someone desire him. And that led to his own untimely end. And that added real gravity to an already heavy episode, one that truly reminded us of what Gacy was all about and how ugly a person he was. And that made for a frustrating story in all the right ways, because the audacity of this man was simply off the charts, and it made the reality of what happened to Johnny 10 times worse, because it takes real trash to prey upon people like that. But Gacy did it, and it was disgusting, and that will make justice all the more satisfying after we learn the full scope of his monstrous impact upon the world. Um, there's not enough alcohol in the world. Johnny made me so sad. Johnny's story is really sad. I'm interested to see where that goes more so.
The not enough alcohol in the world comment makes me, of course, think of the freaking documentary where I said very loudly, where the hell is he finding these ladies to marry him?
To marry him is insane, and to have children with him?
Like, what?
You've lost your mind. You've lost your mind.
Oh,
Okay. I would like to pull up actual photos of the victims. So that you can see what they looked like and who they were. Why is Robert Peast on IMDb?
what?
Yeah. Did he
Also,
act in something?
when
It's kind
Durga
of weird.
said, why would you invite the cops in your house when you have bodies in there?
Hmm.
I thought she was talking about when he invited the cops in for warmth and snacks when they were doing surveillance on him.
Yeah, she is. Wait.
Oh,
Yeah, she is. That's the
oh,
first
okay.
episode where they find the smell. He offered them like a fish fry, which is so Midwestern I can't handle it. Was that a Friday?
They said he was like, "Oh, it's so cold. You don't need to be out here when it's so cold. You're
Yeah.
watching me anyway, right? Just come on in." Like, what?
Wild. Absolutely wild. Okay. All right. So here you go. I'm going to share some photos really quickly. Yeah, why are they on IMDb is wild. That's actually crazy. All right. Here we go. Here's Robert. And then here is Johnny.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I think that's the saddest part is just knowing how young they were and how like much potential their lives had and how that was taken from them with other consent. And I just really this guy sucks. He's the worst. He's the worst. He's a total loser. I'm excited to make fun of him for another
So
several
they
episodes.
said, they said, you did this horrible crime, which they felt you deserved 10 years in prison for.
Mm-hmm.
But because we put you in prison with a bunch of grown men who would essentially beat you to a pulp if you acted up, because you were on good behavior around these people, we decided that after 18 months, we should release you to
Good
the
enough.
children.
Yeah, good enough. I think it's because he was really good at spinning that story.
Mhm.
Right? And
Mhm.
the weirdest part about that is that he spins the story and he states it so matter of fact and is so open about it. Something that makes people so uncomfortable. You'll notice this is reminiscent of something else that happened 10 years later in the 80s and 90s when Dahmer does the same thing. He's just like super forward with the police about him being gay and they get so uncomfortable that they just choose to let him go. So it
Mhm.
makes me think like because he was so open about his quote unquote bisexuality that he states he has, um, that that like what a win for the bisexual community. When he said it, Kira, I died. I died.
I was
I'm
just
sorry.
like, I think I was cracking up more at how he answered the like, "Are you a homosexual?" question. Like that was preposterous. Like, how dare you ask me
How
that? And
dare
he's like,
you? Even though I
no.
just told
Like,
you
what?
about the sexual things that I did with men.
I mean,
Like
yeah, I've been with men, but I'm bisexual. I'm
that was
like,
crazy. I was like, what is happening right now? Um
somebody please do something.
what is happening? But so I think there's something to be said for like it just made it just made people uncomfortable, I think. And so like because of that and because he talks a lot to the point where you're like, okay, just shut up already, dude. So I
Mhm.
think to some degree it's like he just was able to talk his way out of a lot of things.
Yeah.
Now some of it is, you know, get out of here, lukewarm out patient. Um Durga says you guys are only gay if you have feelings. Um, I can't. I can't. Durga, the quote, I'm liberal like that. I can't. I can't.
Oh my.
Anyway, I just there'll be more to say. I think I'm gonna wrap it up here. My throat's starting to hurt. This really dry out. And also I have to be up at 5 a.m.
Yeah, me
tomorrow.
too, actually.
So I think it's gonna be time to go. But anyway, this has been weirdly fun and entertaining despite the content. I have to say, Durga, this was a really good recommendation. The drama series is phenomenal. It's very well acted. Um, it's like the episodes are long. Like, don't I mean, how dare you? How dare you? You gave me full hour episodes, and I was like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll do 2 the first time." And I went to watch it, and I was like, I got through the first episode, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, these episodes are so long."
Well, that's how I felt watching the freaking document.
So we will be back next Friday, 11:21. at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for yet another episode of the Limited Series Lounge that was on hiatus but is no longer on hiatus but will be on hiatus again. So we're gonna knock out episodes 3 and 4 if you'd like to follow along with us. This is heavy. I'm not gonna tell you it's all fun and games. We make fun of him. We make fun of John Wayne Gacy all we want after. But it is heavy. So just prepare yourself if you're interested in following along with this. But thank you, Durga, for being here. I'm sad that we missed our usual people, India and Marcus. We're nowhere to be seen this week.
Oh
I
yeah.
miss you guys. Where are you? Come back. But you probably thought we were on hiatus because that's what I said. Surprise! We're not. We'll be back next week. Okay. Okay. We'll see you guys then. We love you so much. Mwah. Thank you for being here.